What's bad, Internet? Jake here. Dumb as ever. Dumb for believing in the franchise I love. It's 9 a.m. Well, Transformers fans, it is so Jover. It's never been more Jover. Well, it has been a few times in the franchise, and we can talk about that, but in this video, I wanted to discuss Transformers 1 and the fact that we now know for sure that Paramount is not looking into a sequel for the movie. This was confirmed at BotCon yesterday by Josh Cooley, the director of Transformers 1. He also directed Toy Story 4, and that is incredibly heartbreaking. We all kind of knew, right? Like, we were low-key being delusional by thinking we would get a sequel. And you know, I like to be hope-pilled. I like to think that the best outcome will happen, but obviously it just isn't. Transformers 1 underperformed a lot at the box office, and we're going to talk about that as well. Basically, what this video is I want to do like a little bit of an autopsy of what happened with Transformers 1, and also look at what's going on with Hasbro and Paramount, and trying to predict the future of the franchise, because right now, Transformers is in kind of a dark ages, you could say. There's not an actual cartoon coming out. There's a 5-minute cartoon YouTube thing coming out for Transformers Cyberworld, which who knows, could be good, but 5 minutes for an episode, you're not gonna get a real in-depth story, right? You're gonna get, you know, some shenanigans, perhaps. Hype moments and aura, perhaps, but not a good story. Let's be for real. 5 minutes an episode, you're not gonna get a good story. And also, Transformers Earthspark, the last cartoon that was out that a lot of fans enjoyed, they completely fumbled it after Season 1. I watched Season 1, absolutely love Season 1, but I've heard nothing but terrible things about Season 2 and 3. Now, I haven't watched them myself, and I don't like to give opinions on things I haven't consumed, so I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but I know for a fact a majority of the fan base does not care for those seasons, and also we know for a fact that the studio that was making the cartoon switched to a different studio, the same studio I think that made that Megamind cartoon that everyone hated. So yeah, not good. The movie's flopping, the video game got canceled. Right now, Transformers fans have toys, and we have a comic book that's really good. I'm trying to think of anything else Transformers fans can consume media-wise. It's not a lot. I mean, we do have 40 years worth of Transformers content that we can consume. If you're wanting something and there's nothing new happening, go back in the archives, man. We got plenty. We got plenty. But as for new stuff, it's like total dark ages right now. It's crazy, right? So I did want to talk about the box office situation for Transformers 1 and the slow decline of Transformers box office numbers. So let's take a look at Transformers The Last Night that came out in 2017. We are obviously not speaking to the quality of the films we're talking about because this is a terrible movie, but it made $605 million on a $200 million budget. The rule of thumb usually for whether something's considered a box office success or failure is, did it double the budget costs? I mean, that used to be the old rule of thumb, but what I'm hearing now is, did it like 2.5x the budget costs? Now, Transformers The Last Night, it definitely did that. It tripled the budget costs, in fact, with its revenue. So that is a box office success. Bumblebee. Bumblebee came out 2018. Just a year later, it made $467 million, and it was on a budget of $135 million. So, box office success. A pretty good box office success, I'm not gonna lie, between the budget and the worldwide revenue. Okay, so this is the last box office success for Transformers, unfortunately. So 2018, Bumblebee comes out. 2019, 2020, nothing. And 2020 is when the pandemic happened, obviously. So in 2023, we finally got a new Transformers with Transformers Rise of the Beast. Who knows, we probably would have gotten this earlier than 2023, but because of the pandemic, I'm sure that pushed things back significantly. Now, the rumored budget for this movie is rumored to be $200 million. It made $441 million. And now you might say, hey, that's double the budget, that's a box office success, but in current day, apparently it's not considered that. It needs to make significantly more than just double. 2.5 times or even 3 times is now the current ideal for a box office success. I don't think the fact that it like doubled the budget is terrible at all. I think that's a good thing for sure. It wasn't a flop, but it wasn't a success. It was just there. That's Transformers Rise of the Beast. That's post-COVID time. I do have to wonder, if we never went through COVID, would this movie do better? I think with COVID came a ton of changes to the entertainment industry. Going to the movies has become it was already a big deal, to be clear. Like, most families would only go to the movies once or twice a year, right? See their Marvel movies, maybe see something else. But now with COVID, streaming is huge. Companies invested so much into streaming. Movies come out and then a month later they're on streaming, right? The landscape of 2018 when Bumblebee came out and the landscape of 2023 when Rise of the Beast came out is completely and totally different. So that is interesting to think about, at least. And now we go to Transformers 1, our newest movie. In my opinion, one of the best Transformers movies out of all of them. I think I like Bumblebee more overall, but Transformers 1 is right behind it, man. It's a great movie. And worldwide, it made $129 million under a $75 million budget. So it didn't even double the budget. $75 million is estimated. It could have been more. It could have been like $100 million. We don't know the like budget for a fact. It's just like I can't tell if it's like based on things people say or just kind of guesstimated. But 75 to 100 million budget, it made 129 million. That is a box office flop. I wouldn't say it's a bomb, but it's definitely a flop. That was tragic to watch unfold because, you know, as a Transformers fan, I'm keeping up with this stuff. Transformers fans are very invested in these movies doing well because it means we get more movies, right? Well, Transformers 1 did not do great. We all know it, and it was heartbreaking to watch the box office slowly climb. It was so Jover. It was so Jover midway through the box office run, but fans were still holding on hope, like, let's all go see it. And, you know, through efforts like the Twitter account TF Hype Guy, a lot of people did go see the movie that probably weren't going to go see it, but it's a Twitter account, right? His reach is only so far. He was never going to save, like, the box office. I've talked to TF Hype Guy. I did a podcast with him, like, last year at some point, and he knows that, you know, his Twitter account was never going to save the movie, but he definitely got people to go watch it, and it's a great movie, and I'm sure it's done amazing on streaming services because it's such a solid film that most everyone, in my opinion, can enjoy. Now, part of the reason I think Transformers 1 failed, and this is an extremely popular opinion, I'm sure you've heard it before, is that the marketing completely failed the movie. It pitched it as a funny kids film, when really it's got a lot more dark themes associated with it. I don't really think it's bad they pitched the movie as a kids film, but I think the issue is that every Transformers movie before Transformers 1 has been like a PG-13 movie, not explicitly for kids. The fact that they were trying to pitch this movie as something for the kids, you're advertising to a whole new audience now than the one you already built in with your Transformers fan base and, you know, the general audience. Because, you know, Transformers fans, we went and saw it, right? We went and saw it. I saw it 3 times in theaters. I hardly ever see a movie more than once. Just in general, I don't rewatch a lot, but I saw that movie 3 times in theaters. So it's not the Transformers fans that failed the movie, it's the fact that the general audience was just not interested. And it's from that bad first trailer, and the movie in general, in my opinion, is kind of hard to advertise. Like, they advertised it as the origin story for Optimus and Megatron, which it definitely is, but what universe is it? Is it the Rise of the Beast one? Is it the Bayverse one? You know, the producers randomly would just throw stuff out. I think the audience was like split up a little bit. I think the general audience wanted more of the classic live action Transformers stuff. I think more general audience would have definitely tuned in for that. And, you know, there's a lot of adults that might have watched a live action one that would not watch a animated one. I've known a lot of adults in my time that just consider animated movies to be only for children, which is an unfortunate opinion to have that I greatly disagree with. But Transformers 1, box office failure, it is not getting a sequel. We know that for sure. Now, I don't know if the live-action Transformers X G.I. Joe movie is canceled as well. Josh Cooley, I'm assuming, would not know anything about that, so obviously we didn't get a comment from him about that. But if there is going to be another Transformers movie, it's going to be that. It's going to be a live-action follow-up to Rise of the Beasts featuring G.I. Joe. That's at least what we've heard so far. Now, the box office failure of Transformers 1 actually had a massive repercussion. Hasbro is no longer financing movies based on their IP, focusing on game development instead. I'm just gonna read part of this. Hasbro CEO Chris Cox, yes, that is his real name, told Bloomberg that they will no longer be co-financing films based on Hasbro IP. While Hasbro will continue to license its IP to other film companies such as Lionsgate and Sony, Hasbro is stepping out of the film business with the disappointing box office return of Transformers 1 and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, both of which are good movies. Dungeons & Dragons also did terribly. I think that movie came out in like 2021 or 2022, something like that. Fresh off the pandemic, not a great time to release a movie. Chris Cox, who came to Hasbro from Microsoft in 2016, was put in charge of Hasbro's card game Magic the Gathering before becoming CEO 2 years ago after the death of the previous CEO, Brian Goldner. They keep using his last name only. Chris Cox is focusing more on upcoming video games to try and reach fans where they play by earmarking $100 to $150 million a year to producing video games based on Hasbro's IP. Games mentioned were the upcoming G.I. Joe game, Exodus made by BioWare, and an unannounced Dungeons & Dragons game. No word on any upcoming Transformers video games. We'll talk about Transformers video games in a second. The CEO is so out of touch, it's crazy. He thinks that he can raise Hasbro up by making some video games, which, you know, maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible, but isn't Hasbro a toy company? I know video games are like modern day toys, but just ditching the toy industry for making video games when you haven't even made one video game? I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is really popular. I'm not sure Hasbro had anything to do with that really, besides the licensing. There's this G.I. Joe game coming out. There's like a teaser. It's based on Snake Eyes. I don't know. It might be cool, but but do they really think that, you know, switching from toys to video games is gonna work in their favor? The video game industry is maybe even worse than the toy industry when it comes to how much things cost and how much you get back. It can go bad, man. You can get a lot worse than a Transformers 1 flop with a video game. You can get a Concorde, man. I think this is a genuine, terrible mistake on Hasbro's part. Transformers and other properties go through ups and downs, okay? Transformers can't be popular forever. That is just a fact. And it probably will not ever be as popular as it was when, like, Transformers Dark of the Moon came out, or Age of Extinction or whatever. There is a definitive peak to Transformers being a part of the mainstream media, and probably the profits Transformers can make. But that doesn't mean that you can't peak again, or you can't try. Like, this is just definitive giving up. They're making Transformers toys, that's for sure. But how long will that be, you know? Because we have seen that they're licensing out their toy properties to other toy manufacturers. We have Mask toys coming from the Loyal Subjects. They didn't even try to make Mask toys. They just license it to the Loyal Subjects, who look like they're doing a fantastic job. I've seen the toys. They look phenomenal. I'd love to buy some. But they're licensing out Mask, and then they're also licensing out G.I. Joe to Super 7. Super 7 is making these old school style G.I. Joe toys, which you would assume Hasbro would make, right? They do classified series, these throwback type of toys. They do that with Star Wars, so why are they not doing it for G.I. Joe here? And it's because they don't want to invest like that. They want to license it out to someone else that can take the risk. That's how I'm interpreting that. I could be completely wrong, and any toy industry veterans, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you're there. But from my point of view, they're licensing out their properties to other companies because, in my opinion, they're slowly trying to push themselves out of the toy industry because they think they can make video games. Now, does this mean Transformers will be made by another company? Probably not. I think they for sure keep Transformers, they for sure keep Marvel, they for sure keep G.I. Joe Classified series, and they for sure keep Star Wars. Anything else? Who knows, man? Who knows? But those big four, I think they're gonna keep for sure. I think they're proven money makers. Maybe not Star Wars. I don't know. Star Wars is up and down, man. Sometimes the fandom hates Star Wars and sometimes the fandom loves Star Wars. I don't get Star Wars fans. At least Marvel, Transformers, and G.I. Joe, I feel pretty safe saying that they're gonna keep doing those. Now, let's talk about another huge piece of this Transformers Dark Ages thing that's going on right now, which is the Transformers Reactivate getting canceled. Now, I've spoken to some people about this, some people in the know, reputable sources, and from what I've heard, this is a story I've heard, and I don't know if it's 100% true. I believe it based on the person that told me it. I've heard that Transformers Reactivate was being made by a different company than Splash Damage for a good amount of time. They made character models, and they basically set up the foundation of Transformers Reactivate. And Splash Damage got the game, and basically their job was to make levels for the game. That's what I've heard. Consider it hearsay, consider it speculation. I can't give a source, so that's just what I'm gonna say. That Splash Damage kind of had everything handed to them. A game engine, map, level editor, that sort of stuff. One company worked on that, and then Splash Damage got it, and then did nothing with it. That is what I've heard, basically. If you happen to work in the industry, you're somehow attached to this, and you want to put in your 2 cents, give your part of the story, that's also cool, man. I'm not saying anything I'm saying here is 100% right. This is just all the stuff I know, and I'm trying to put it into like a digestible form to explain why Transformers 1 is not getting a sequel. Because it's all connected, man. This is connected to Transformers 1 just as much as Hasbro dropping Paramount is connected to Transformers 1, and the toys getting licensed out is connected to Transformers 1. It has to do with Hasbro, and it has to do with their new direction they think they're going in. So Transformers Reactivate got canceled. We learned about it in January. God, it's been months already. It does not feel like we got this news in January, but here you go. Splash Damage made a statement. Today we have some very difficult news. The decision has been made to end development of Transformers Reactivate. This means we will be scaling down to refocus our efforts. So Splash Damage is also getting screwed by this. From what I've heard, Hasbro did not decide this. This was a Splash Damage decision. But, you know, Hasbro, from what I've also heard, are the ones that decided to move it from the original studio to Splash Damage. Hey guys, editing Jake just cutting in here to make a quick clarification. I don't think that's actually true. I don't think Hasbro made the choice to switch studios. I think there's another third-party company involved that was supposed to be handling the game for Hasbro, and they switched the studios. Not entirely accurate that Hasbro was in charge of this. Who knows to what level they were overseeing the game? We have no idea, but I do think it's somewhat unfair to say it was all Hasbro's decision, because from what I'm hearing, it definitely was not. And from what I've heard, it was because of cheaper development. All speculation, all hearsay. That's what I've heard, okay? Transformers Reactivate. Who knows what it could have been? We've seen the leaked gameplay and crap like that. And, sure, it looks cool for sure, but we never even got a true gameplay trailer, right? I think it's sad. I would have really liked a new Transformers game to play. It would be so fun to play one that doesn't look like a mobile game on stream. We're just not gonna get it. And I'm not gonna mourn it too much because, again, we got nothing on it, man. We got leaked stuff. That's all we ever got for Transformers Reactivate. So this sucks, but Transformers Reactivate, done. No video game. No Transformers video game. In the same breath, we're focusing on video games. What is going on, man? Why couldn't Transformers Reactivate be transferred to a different studio, or even the original studio that was working on it? For sure, I don't understand some of the business stuff, right? I truly do not. There's a lot of moving parts. The logistics of giant companies and corporations is mind-boggling. It's incredibly hard to think about. But everything I'm seeing, everything that's being told to me by Hasbro directly, and things I'm learning via, news articles like Hasbro dropping Paramount and the video game getting canceled, all of that is telling me that Hasbro has no idea what they're doing with their properties. They think they can move over to video games instead of making the things that they're known for, toys. Here's what I think. I think if a sequel for Transformers 1 was made, it would do excellently in the box office. Here's some points. 1, they've made all the character models. Obviously, for a new movie, you want to sell new toys, so there might be some alterations, but they've already made a ton of character models for the movie. That stuff is already made, right? They don't make new ones for every single scene. So, a ton of work is already done. The movie is on streaming services. It was critically acclaimed, and people are watching the hell out of it on streaming services. People that didn't see it in movie theaters are most likely seeing it for the first time on streaming service and saying, "Drat, I wish I saw that in the theaters. That was so good." 3, Hasbro has a solid, foundational fan base that supports pretty much any new Transformers thing, even if we don't think it's that good. A ton of people don't think Cyberworld is gonna be that good. They don't think the toys look that good. But I'm willing to bet even the biggest haters are gonna buy at least one Cyberworld toy. Transformers fans are super reliable consumers. And I have to say, with Transformers 1, I feel like the fan base grew exponentially. The biggest amount I've seen the fan base grow in a long time. And it's because Transformers 1 is that perfect introduction movie to the franchise, to the concepts of the franchise, to Transformers as a whole. When Transformers came out in 1984, the original cartoon and toy line, they had to foster that fandom. They had to build it up. It wasn't instant success. They had a cartoon, they had comic books, and I just feel like everything is so instant gratification based that your movie does bad, I guess it's not worth pursuing whatsoever. I guess, never mind. There is millions and billions of dollars worth of potential revenue with Transformers as a franchise. We have seen it. We've literally seen it with the live action movies in 2007 to 2018 or whatever. We have seen the potential of those movies. So just giving up after a few failures is so incredibly pathetic. And I feel even pathetic for thinking about it because the company that owns the freaking movie is not even thinking about it, man. Well, why are the fans the only ones thinking about it? Dude, I don't know. I'm so incredibly disappointed. And we all knew it was gonna come. We all knew it was cooked. But just hearing it confirmed is so tragic. I am genuinely sad. It's definitely possible we get a Transformers 1 sequel or a cartoon or something in the future. It's possible. It's not impossible. I like to think of myself as someone who is not a doomer. I don't want to think the worst about everything. I want to be positive. I don't want to just give up and say, I guess that's it. That's all, folks. Wrap it up. And I'm not going to be a doomer here. I'm going to say that this franchise has had its ups and downs for the entire lifespan of Transformers. At the tail end of G1 Transformers, it started to fizzle out, man. G2 was a bad time for Transformers. I'm just gonna say, I don't think those G2 toys look good, and sales-wise, they were definitely faltering. Then along came Beast Wars. All of a sudden, the franchise was reinvigorated. They changed everything. Beast Wars is so completely different from Transformers G1 in so many ways. It still worked, man. It was because it was a good show, because they put effort into it, because they put out something worth watching. And then at the end of Beast Wars, we had Beast Machines, another failure. Another thing fans hated, another show that did not sell toys. But after that, we got Transformers Armada. That's the Transformers I grew up with, man. That's a show that made me love the franchise. And then after that, we had the peak with Transformers 2007. So what I'm trying to get at here is that There are always going to be low points to go with your high points. This goes for literally everything in life. But I definitely think the powers that be that control this franchise are completely misguided. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no faith in their own franchise, which is extremely disappointing. I know I haven't done any Transformers videos in a while, and it's just because other stuff is doing better. It's not like I don't like Transformers or anything anymore. Look at my shelf. Look at my shelf back there. But, you know, with YouTube, you kind of just got to go with the flow and follow follow the trends that work for you. But I will say for Transformers fans, I got one video coming up that includes Transformers as part of the topic list. And then I have 3 videos I'm working on that are completely Transformers based. So I have not forgotten about Transformers. I've just been working on fitting it into the new style of the channel. This video probably should go on the second channel, but I'm just going to put it on the first channel because this is where my Transformers fans are at. This is where my people are at, basically. So here's something I want to say to Transformers fans. Transformers is the most malleable franchise known to man. You can turn it into anything you want. I just saw the other day someone was like, there should be a Transformers universe where it's all pro wrestling based. And that's like the sickest idea ever. And I want someone to write that because let's be real with ourselves. Hasbro is not putting anything out worth watching for a while. In my mind, if I want new Transformers stuff, I've got to make it myself. And I've been working on just that with my artist, the artist that has done the Bat Kibble podcast thumbnails and my current icon, Reggie, also known as @centipede.gov on Instagram, commissioned them. I've been working with them on my own Transformers comic idea that I've had for years. I'm going to show some pieces of art here, like they're sketches. They are not finalized. We are still working. Reggie is still working on like the art and stuff. And to be clear, this is not going to come out for a while. I just wanted to show that I'm not giving up on the franchise. I love this franchise. I want more stories from it. It's got unlimited potential for stories, way past what Hasbro continuously does by, you know, redoing G1 stuff, rehashing G1 ideas. There's so much more you can do with this franchise and the idea of a planet of robots that transform into vehicles. There's so much. It's crazy, you know? The foundation is so solid that you could do anything you want. And that's what I'm doing. I'm working on, it's called Transformers Outcasts. I'll just say the title. It's called Transformers Outcasts. It's not going to be paid anywhere because it's obviously being, you know, it's obviously a Transformers thing. So whenever it's complete, I'm just going to put it on my Patreon for free members so they can read the PDF for free. I'm just slowly paying that out of pocket because that's something I want to exist. And I have just surmised that it is not going to exist without my involvement. If you're an artist, or if you just like writing, or if you like thinking of that about this stuff, I truly encourage you to you know, get creative with it, create your own universe, create your own characters. We don't need Hasbro to enjoy Transformers, and I mean that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.